Good evening, everyone. Our February 2026 monthly school board meeting of the Florence County School Board of Trustees is now called to order. In accordance with the South Carolina Code of Laws 1976, section 30-4-809D as amended, the following have been notified of the time, date, place, and agenda of this meeting. Morning News, Lake City Shopper, WBTW, WPDE, and WNBF. This agenda is also posted on the Florence County District 3 website. Madam Secretary, roll call.
All trustees are in attendance with Ms. Dr. Julie Mims on the phone.
Thank you. And all board members, at this time, please ensure your electronic devices are off and on silent. And Ms. Casey Fagan, our interim superintendent, will come before us with our moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Please remember our Florida School District when students says that.
Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May be seated. Board, I will entertain a motion regarding the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda with an amendment adding a presentation from the Educational Foundation during the board chair report.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Paula Morris and a second by Jaquel Brown. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to approve the amended agenda and approve the regular agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Board, I'll entertain a motion regarding the consent agenda.
I mean that we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ruther Frierson and a second by Rebecca Yates. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to approve the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, we're down to public participation. We have one signed up for public participation item, Kathy Sidnick Carter with the Educational Foundation.
My name is Kathy Sednick Carter. I'm a board member of the Education Foundation and as well as a tutor in the accelerated reading lab that you all allowed us to do this year in the early childhood school. It's been a privilege to work with the staff at that school, and we especially want to thank Ms. Brent and the 5K through second grade teachers that we work with. They've been as helpful as they can be in making sure we get the students the help that they need. We are there to support the teachers. We're not teaching what the teachers can teach in the classroom. We are concentrating on basic skills that children may have missed for one reason or another. We don't really care why they missed it. But they miss things like basic letter sounds, identifying letters, decoding words. And no child should end up in second grade not being able to have that skill and be able to use it. So that's what we're doing. We're doing foundational skills. We are really pleased and privileged to be able to work with these students, and we would like to invite you all individually to come and see what goes on in the education lab. Mr. Brown has been there one time to visit to see what we're doing, and it is extraordinary what the children have accomplished in such a short period of time. We and each tutor, there's 4 tutors, and each tutor has approximately 7 students a day, and work with them from 20 to 30 minutes. And the data shows that they are getting these basic skills they need, so they will one day be able to really read. That was not my main purpose for being here today. I wanted to let you know that the South Carolina Department of Education is putting on a special literacy training program for people who are interested in learning how to tutor. This is not doing the tutoring we're doing in the school. This would be like, you know, you want to help your child. You want to help your neighbor's child learn how to read. And this is going to happen on Friday, March the 27th, from 9 to 12 at the Lake House here in Lake City. So they wanted us to be sure and let you all know that that event was happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're now down to the board chair report, and the first order of business is discuss the request for a parliamentarian.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'm the one who asked for a parliamentarian. And the reason I asked was to keep order so that we would keep a focus on the agenda. But at this time, I'm asking to postpone this discussion until our May meeting to see how the meeting goes. And then we could identify a prospect if need be. So I'm asking for postponement and so action has to be taken.
Motion to suspend.
So I move that this discussion be postponed until our main meeting.
You need,
Second.
okay. Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Rutha Ferguson and a second by Paula Morris. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to suspend the talkable parliamentarian until May? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Now we're down to the superintendent search update. And Ms. Christy Flowers will give us an update on that.
Good evening, Mr. Board Chair and members of the board. On behalf of the Superintendent Search Committee, I'm pleased to present the following report. In December of 2025, the committee conducted 3 community forums to gather input regarding the superintendent search. These sessions were held on Thursday, December 4th at 6:30, Saturday, December 20th at 12 p.m., and Monday, December 29th at 6:30 p.m. The forums provided valuable opportunities for community members and stakeholders to share perspectives and offer feedback for the committee's consideration. On Thursday, January 8th, the committee met virtually to review the results of the stakeholder survey along with feedback gathered during the community forums. A face-to-face meeting was held on Thursday, January 29th to review applications submitted by prospective candidates. During this meeting, the committee elected to interview all 15 applicants and finalized a set of interview questions aligned with stakeholder priorities. Virtual interviews were conducted between February 2nd and February 12th. The committee then reconvened in person on Thursday, February 12th at 6 p.m. to evaluate the applicants, discuss interview outcomes, and identify those who should advance to the next phase of the process. As a result of this work, the Superintendent Search Committee recommended 4 candidates for second-round interviews with the Board of Trustees. On behalf of the committee, I would like to express our sincere appreciation for the opportunity to serve in this very important process. We're grateful for the trust placed in us and for the chance to contribute to the future leadership of Lawrenceville District 3. Thank you so much for your continued support.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank Chrissy. She did an excellent job of getting us the information and getting Maddie online.
Full-time job. Full-time.
So thank you, Chrissy. You did a a wonderful job, and I think we should give her a hand, so thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I also would like to thank, Ms. Flowers, but also, I need to share that all members of the search committee, completed a, confidentiality agreement. 8 of those agreements were turned in, and that needs to be placed in the minutes. I also need to express to board members again, the importance of us ensuring that during this process, as we begin to interview candidates, we do not discuss the candidates that we are interviewing with anyone until they are publicly shared with the community, during our announcements.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on next to the report of any meetings or schools attended. And I know we all went to the conference last week. We have a few things. We'll start with Ms. Paul Moore.
First, I want to say, thank you to, Ms. Charles Edie for the, program for Dr. Ronnie McNair, in January. It was an outstanding program, and you and your staff did a great job, so as being part of the Ronnie McNair community, I want to say to you and your staff, thank you so much, and I love it when, our students participate in things that we're doing in this district, and on that day, we got a chance to see some gifted, students, participate there. Okay, and, to Mr. Dukes from J. Paul, it's my fault. It's my fault, okay? We know, right? We take care of it, okay? All right, okay, we won't tell anybody else. All right. And as far as for the conference, that we attended, last Thursday to Saturday, to Sunday, it was a great conference, very inspirational. I'm just gonna talk about one person that, that is, Dr. Elizabeth Liz Huntley. She talked about, unlocking the dream by cultivating through education. And she told her life story, and I won't get into that about her life story, but, anyhow, she talked about how, we are part of an institution that shape lives, talking about education, and it shaped the lives of the human being, and how God uses education to save our life. And she talked about that there are students who are leaders, and we have to direct those students who are leaders, with positive, making a positive impact in their lives. And she talked about how although her house was dysfunctional, she raised up with, she was in the house, her mother and her father were drug dealers. And to her, that was the norm, because there was nothing else that she had to compare that to. So she thought that her home was the norm. And she said that, and it's the same thing with our children today, that they're raising up in homes with homes that it's normal to them. You know, they don't have anything to compare to what they're going through. But she gave so much credit to her kindergarten teacher, who first impacted her life there. And she also talked about how you have to, how we have to deal with the children that are going through our doors. In other words, we don't know what those children is happening in their lives. Nobody knew that. She was being raised in a house with parents selling drugs, and also she was being molested by 2 of her uncles. Nobody knew that. But her kindergarten teacher played a very important part in her life, and she said that every child that walks into the school with a story behind their eyes. Some of their stories are not good, and relationship is more important than anything else. So there was a lot more that she said there, and she to us, but it was so inspirational. And how and I love the part about this is that the first day that she went to school in the first grade, her grandmother sent her by herself, gave her a note telling her to telling the teacher to let her put an X where she's supposed to sign at. But the grandmother, she didn't know any better at that time. But when she got on the bus driver said to her, "You're gonna sit right here behind him." And so, in that part of that, everybody takes a part in our children's life. Bus drivers, janitors, everybody plays a very important part in our children's lives. And just remember, as she said, we are an institution, and we need to try to see through the eyes of our students as they come to us every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Maddie Thomas?
We had two gentlemen that visited us, I think it was a workshop we had, if I'm right together. And, one of them came back, and he sat beside me, and he said, man, and he said, we was at your school, you remind me who he was and everything. He said, but my pound cake is traveling across the United States. Because everywhere this man goes, the first part of his speech is talk about the pound cake. And what a character I am as well too. But we had a great class and everything else, and I enjoyed being there. And as you know, I'm that wherever I go. But I enjoyed his class because he was just brief and went through the points, and he was blah 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 1, 2, 3. It was a great class, you know. But the one thing I think we all can do is use a review, because it talks about quite a bit of things. But we all need to review, and we all went to it, right? The responsibilities of a school board member. Because I think some of the stuff, I know some of the stuff I had forgot about. And I think we could use a review on that as well. Policy, we all gonna forget that. But these rules, we need to tighten up a little bit and find out really what the rules and guidelines are. Because it will be helpful to the board. And the board, we always gotta remember, there's 9 different people from 9 different areas and 9 different walks of life, right? And we use that word come together. We don't have to come together, we just have to be for the children. And that's my take on the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Mr. Kelly Brown?
So the workshop or the conference started a day early for Mr. Kirby and myself. And we spent the first day in the board chair workshop where we were reminded of the responsibilities of the chair and vice chair, as well as some changes in policies and legislation that particularly our board should be mindful of. And then there were 2 sessions that I found very interesting, the ins and outs of finance, and creating a culture within the board leadership for staff recruitment and retention. That was a very interesting course because we don't always think about how our work as board members affects our staff and how it determines whether they want to stay or not. I think we do a good job when it comes to giving our bonuses and incentives and recognizing our staff when they do well. And that was just a good workshop to sit in. It gave us also some ideas and key points that we need to look to incorporate some other things that some other districts are doing. So I enjoyed that. We also want to thank Snyder Electric for taking us to dinner. That was very appreciative. I think the entire board appreciated that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Yates?
I attended the conference too. My part was with Miss Elizabeth Huntley also. She already covered that on the, a good week.
Mr. Knight?
I also attended the conference. It's very lovely, except for Friday night, we had a fire alarm and I had to go down 4 flights of stairs. Other than that, it was very informative. I attended the class for referendum. What I want to do is hold off on my report for that until I get all my ducks in a row for trying to get to the gym at J.C. Lynch. So y'all bear with me for a little bit on that, okay? Thank you.
Mr. DeForest?
I always enjoy the conferences, and so I would talk about our former governor, David Beasley. He was just remarkable. And the one thing I realized this year, that every one of those speakers, they did not shy away from talking about who got them to where they are, and that was God. And and he actually preached. He was just good. He gave scriptures and, talked so boldly about his faith and about what needs to be done. But I will give a quote. He spoke in December of 2021. He said, "We have learned that there is great richness in those who are seen in the eyes of the world as the poor. And many of us who are considered rich are actually poor in the things that matter most." He said, "Most time we talk at each other and not to each other." Also, Elizabeth Huntley, the one that Paul and Rebecca were talking about, the one thing that I just want to say about her lets us know that we need people in place, teachers, administrators, any and everybody who has a love for children. And as Paula said, behind the eyes of a child, you don't know what's going on when you see them and when they act the way that they act. But if you have compassion for them, you can actually see what's going on and you can be a great help. Because she said school saved her. She loved education and did her best. She said because she realized that in doing good, that the teachers will treat her good. So that's actually what she was talking about. And I always felt, and I always said that regardless, and I've had dealings with children for as long as I can remember. But I always say that you don't fault a child. You look at their background, where they came from, and don't punish a child. Also, Williamsburg County, I was in their session. They were remarkable. They had a panel there, and actually they talked about 2019 when they were at the bottom, when the state took over control for them. They showed data, and it showed in leaps and bounds how they have grown from the bottom up. And this was under the leadership of Dr. Wims, if I say his name right, but what they did was hard work. They said many people actually volunteered, got on the phone and called people who had already retired, who had a 4-year degree, to call them to come in and to work. They trained them to get to where they needed to be at that time, and it's still ongoing. They have high school teachers training elementary teachers to get them to where they are. So it goes to show that you don't have to stay where you are. I mean, it was very impressive where they are now compared to where they were in 2019.
Thank you, Ms. Ryerson. Mr. Stevie Locklear.
I also attended the ceremony for Dr. Ronald McNair. It was a great event. I know several of us were there. Also attended the board conference, which I think everybody's almost covered about everything we went to. One of the speakers, Ms. Anderson, she said a quote that kind of stuck with me, so I wrote it down. She said, "We change our behavior to meet the expectations of our community." I feel like that's something we all should think about before walking in. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you. Dr. Mims, you have anything you want to speak about?
Well, I didn't get to attend the Ron McNair celebration in person, but I watched it online. I thought it was great. The conference this past weekend was wonderful. I won't go into lots of details because I'm on the phone, but I echo what everybody else said. I did attend the presentation by Carlton County and saw their improvements, and they had some ideas. I think maybe we could look at some of the things that they're doing.
Thank you, Dr. Mims.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say that I have saved the district over $2,000. I always stay to the benediction. I stay on Sundays. On Sunday, they pulled my name twice. So I have a pre-stay for the law conference in August, and $1,950 to the district for the SCSBA, policy subscription.
Okay, yeah, I also attended the Ron McNair celebration. It was great, they said. I went to the conference, all the same meetings, and a couple that stuck out to me was effectively managing the flow of information between the board, administration, and the community was a big topic. And another one was social media posts, about the public matters, or, in person and everything. And then I went to my Lake City High School with Mr. Cook for my board appreciation, and thankful for my basket. It about didn't make it work today, and thankful for showing me around the school and walking the halls. Okay, and now next we're down to,
I also attended my board appreciation, and, I had it for a month. And I want to thank Olana for, everything they did for me, my flowers growing and everything else, right? The children were great, and, they have some questions, and I gotta go back to see the results of their questions and everything else. And Olana, I might not make it back by this month right here, to finish up Black History Month, right? But, I will be back. So a shout out to Olana, and I'm so sorry. Thank you.
thank you. All right, now we're down to a request to attend any meetings that you get with our board. Secretary, I'm sorry. Yeah, the board secretary, now we get Mr. Cooney. All right, now we're down to the Educational Foundation presentation.
Good evening. Good evening. Can y'all hear me fine? Okay, I didn't write it down, but I am gonna speak from my mind. I am with the Educational Foundation, along with Ms. Kathy, and I'm a tutor for the Survey Lab, and I love my job. I am not only teaching kids the kids are teaching me, and along with that, Mr. Jamie has taught me a lot, along with through the behavioral analysis process. Like Ms. Kathy covered, we teach these kids who can't read or who don't know their letters to read, to know their names and sounds. But along with that, you can't just do the work without knowing the kids. So where that comes in is the behavioral part. A lot of teachers or admins, they see a child and they label them as a bad student. But not many people take the time to realize what makes that child bad. Or even more, how can you not make them a bad student? That much also goes into, that affects how children learn. So, Mr. Jamie has taught us a couple of things. One of those things are ABCs within behavior. That is the A, which stands for antecedents, the B, which is the behavior, and the C, which is the consequence. Every behavior has these ABCs. The antecedent is what can prompt the behavior, and then you have the behavior, and then you have the consequences. When you hear consequence, when you hear behavior, you usually think good or bad, but it's not that, it's very neutral. So through that, I personally had a student who, when working with a different tutor, he was argumentative, he liked to talk back, and it wasn't much work that she could get done out of him. So because we have a student who most teachers would label him as a lost cause, you can't work with him, he doesn't want to learn, he always is fighting back. But I took on the challenge because I pay attention in our seminars, and Mr. Jamie taught us this one word that stuck with me, and it was helplessness. I think this is a trait that does affect our children. And I did think that our child was helpless or hopeless because he has come to the second grade without barely a 5K reading level to where his understanding is, what's the point? Why do the work if all I get is, it was wrong? Why do the work if all they focus is on is my mistakes? So through that, I try to focus on what he could do. And then through that, it was a peak in his self-esteem and his confidence altogether. Because through that, he understood that school didn't have to be someone in your ear telling you all the things that you can't do. School is also a place where you can acknowledge the things that you can do right. And even within his data, which I wish I had, there is an increase in how many things he's gotten right and how many things he knows now, because I took the time to really figure him out. I think I heard you guys speak of something similar where these kids, they're at home, they have these home lives, which are horrible. And then that leads to these behaviors. That behavior affects how they behave in class, that affects their learning. So through the foundation, not only are we just teaching them to learn to read, we're teaching them to take these skills and apply them within our classroom and within the real world. And I think the behavior analysis part is something that's very important for a lot of teachers. They may not have that. I think it's important for them to have it, because through that, they can not just send their kid out of class because they're misbehaving. They can take the time to actually understand what is it that causes this behavior and how to, not cater to it, for lack of better words, but how to help them so they can be a better student and how they can learn.
Your name, ma'am?
Oh, I'm Elisha Morris.
Okay, now we're down to the superintendent's report with the interim superintendent, Ms. Stacy Kagan.
Good evening again. You have a copy of what Mr. Malik Whitaker is going to come and present, so you can hold it up. If you haven't met him, he is the new city administrator for the city of Lake City. And I'll turn that over to you.
Good evening. A few brief remarks. Again, my name is Malik Whitaker. I'm the new city administrator for the city of Lake City. This gentleman needs no introduction. Our great public works director, Mr. Ricky Sims, will read a brief statement. Thank you for allowing the city the opportunity to appear before you this evening to present a proposed partnership regarding the Matthew Road water tank. As you know, the Matthew Road water tank is both critical infrastructure for our water system and a highly visible community landmark. The tank is scheduled for rehabilitation, and the city sees this as an opportunity to strengthen collaboration with Florence School District 3 while enhancing an asset that represents community pride. The city respectfully requests the district's consideration of an annual contribution of $1,500 to assist with ongoing maintenance of the tanker. These funds would support pressure washing, exterior cleaning, and other upkeep necessary to preserve its appearance following rehabilitation. In return, the city will provide the district with the opportunity to participate in aesthetic decisions regarding the tank's appearance. This includes selection of the color scheme and the logo and wording displayed on the column subject to city approval and applicable regulations. Whether retaining the Panthers branding or selecting an alternative design such as Lake City Strong, this partnership allows the district to help shape a prominent visual symbol within our community. And you all, I believe, have been provided a draft agreement. We believe the proposal represents a modest financial commitment for meaningful community impact. It reflects collaboration, a shared identity, and a mutual investment in Lake City's future. Of course, we appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Any questions or discussion?
What is the total cost of the project?
Okay, I brought a little some data too. $848,500. So from the state revolving fund.
So this would be an ongoing partnership that you're asking?
Yes, ma'am.
How long was the 1,500? Is there a set time and date for that, or what's the 1,500 that you're asking for from the district?
I think it's annual, it's an annual request.
But no years amount, like,
Yes, probably a year out, yeah. Yeah.
But every year we would need to come back.
We just, a couple weeks ago had the bid opening, so we're in the very early stages of, starting that project.
I think we're asking for an annual contribution towards the power wash.
yeah, I'm saying like a total amount of years, or it's just a,
It's $1,500 annual that we're requesting, and it's similar to.
We can do 10 years, 5
yeah,
years,
that's what
whatever you guys.
there was any
Yeah.
time, okay.
Yeah. I don't know how long that was.
Yeah, we're probably looking at probably 8 to 10 years possible before we even need it, to be cleaned possibly, but it's probably gonna run about $20,000 to have them cleaned.
So how was it being maintained before?
We've had it pressure washed, I think, one time.
And the city was paying?
Yeah, and the city paid, and, yeah, they had the total cost of that. Also, I would like to add the logo, wouldn't be any cost of that is in the, grant. I think it was like $18,000. Once it's on there, it's something, and it's similar to the Black River Hospital agreement that we had. If you go down to the Black River Hospital now, they have their logo up on that tank now. So that's what we're doing. Right, our requesting the schools to do.
Do you have a plan B?
Man,
Do you have a plan B?
Plan B.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, it'd be, yeah, because, South Carolina Department of Environmental Services will require the city to do it. And these tanks are, we look at them annually, and that's where we are today. It's time to get it rehab.
I have a question. Who's responsible for keeping up with it the past 10 years? Because it's looked pretty bad for years now.
Yeah, the city, yes, it is, and with the wood line that's behind it, and most of the time the building is always on that north side, and if you look at it, that's why that side looks so bad.
Mr. Ricky, did we not, at one time, the district supporting some, was it the logo or when we had the logo did, at one time, did we not?
I don't remember if there's any financial support from it. The city did allow, the schools, the district to put the Panthers up there, and also, the color, blue and gold. And we understand now that, the school may, they like to change the color, still with the school color. And I think we did add too that there's a pump house that's gonna be renovated to have all the controls in it. And if we wanted to put something on that wall facing the softball field, that would be fine also.
I have a question. The rest of the water towers, is anybody else responsible for $1,500 a year?
Only one, this is a request, we're just starting out on the help finances for the city, like city. The only one doing it now is the schools, the Black River Hospital.
So we don't do the $1,500 annually. Are you saying that we won't have the right to have that Panther?
No, sir.
So if we don't do the $1,500, the Panther animal will be.
I would think so. I would think that would change it when you do it now. It's already there.
Can I just ask for the help?
It is actually.
People wouldn't get mad with us and take it.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get that.
Yeah, we'll get back.
Okay. All right, this time we'll have Ms. Hope give us some of our finance update. Since it has action, we need to do a vote to postpone it. Or-
Yeah,
not to take up.
So we vote to table the City of Lake City water. Okay. A motion to postpone.
Mr. Chair, I move to postpone the City of Lake City's request concerning the water.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Kell Brown and a second by Ms. Rebecca Yates to postpone the water tower funding for the City of Lake City. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None being noted, the motion carries.
Okay, good evening, Chairman, and all other members of the board. I would like to give you an update, for finance updates for February 2026. This is our mission statement, ensuring our students are college or career ready and are productive and responsible members of society. This is a list of our 2025-2026 district goals. January financials are linked to the board agenda posted on the Florence County School District 3 website. The general fund approved budget, $35,646,811. Board approved use of fund balance, which is listed. The total is $5,553,007. Our FY 2025-2026 general fund approved budget plus board approved use of fund balance is $41,199,818. Our next slide is the general fund budget by object. I'm presenting to you the timeline for 2026-2027 budget approval schedule. The first one, our first reading of proposed budget, Thursday, March 19th, 2026. Our first public hearing at 5:00 p.m. is Thursday, April 16th, 2026. Our second reading is Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Our second public hearing at 12 p.m. is on Monday, June 1st, 2026. And Thursday, June 18th, 2026 is our final reading.
The board, I will entertain a motion regarding the timeline for the 2026-2027 general fund budget process.
Ask a question.
Okay.
For our budget, where our budget is at now, are we good with our budget? Is there? I'm gonna say something about that right now, right after this. Okay then. Thank you.
Okay. Board, I will entertain a motion regarding the timeline for the 2026-2027 general fund budget process.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the 2026-2027 general fund budget process.
Second.
I have a motion by Jaquel Brown and a second by Ms. Maddie Thomas. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to approve the timeline for the 2026-27 general fund budget process, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Okay, I also would like to give you an update on what you were asking about. We expressed to you several times throughout the budgeting and throughout the year of 25-26 that we would update you in the month of January, 2026. South Carolina Department of Ed payments to district report will indicate an increase or a decrease of district state aid to classrooms. Our original allocation would change due to the 45th day count. Florence County School District 3 allocation is to the good. We had a decrease in state aid to classroom. There's two sections, And we had a $96,804.70 decrease. The other state aided classroom,
The decrease?
okay, is $96,804.70. Okay, we also, in another section, it gives us state aid to classroom, a decrease of $20,380.38. We also had an increase with our health insurance of $137,364.84. $137,364.84. So at this time, Florence County School District 3 allocation is $296,350.36 to the good. Due to our conservative budget of $17,597, we are to the good now in the original for the rest of
To be that, somebody here, the 296,000.
The bottom line.
$50.36.
$296,350.36. So the question, the decrease, we received the decrease because of, with the 45th day, remember in our, final reading that we did that was approved for the budget, we had prepared for 159, ADM, so I had it tagged, so decrease, okay. Our 135th average daily membership trend, we prepare for the 45th day count to be decreased by 159.14 projected. So that's why we did the budget the way we did in reference knowing around January that we would have the drop.
So because of we prepared for that
Yes.
decrease, now we have a increase of 296.
Yes,
296. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I knew y'all would be happy. Okay? I was too, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
At this time, we'll have our HR update from Ms. Angela Scott.
Of course, tonight we're sharing with you our preliminary vacancies for the 26-27 school year. You'll see that we have 2 early childhood vacancies, 1 in Montessori. We have an English vacancy, 6 math vacancies, which is now 5 math vacancies, and we have 2 candidates that we've offered. Science, we have 3 vacancies with an offer to 1 candidate. We do not have social studies, special ed. We have covered all of our special ed at this point as well. We still have 1 Spanish position, we have an art position, but we have an offer to a candidate. 1 band position. We have filled the PE position as well. And we are hoping to get an ESOL teacher as well from our recruitment fair on Saturday. Are there any questions?
So whenever, like, there's 6 in math, so what do you all have to do, enlarge the classes?
We're trying to fill the vacancies. Yes, ma'am. And we start early. So I anticipate that we will be able to fill those vacancies. We had several candidates at the recruitment fair. We still have interviews that we do, and we'll continue to do. Yes, ma'am.
The schools for the map. Can you say which schools those?
Yes, ma'am, I can. So Ronald E. McNair actually had two, they have filled one vacancy. We have a middle level vacancy at J. Paul, a secondary vacancy at J. Paul, and two vacancies at the high school. Maybe three. That's right. But I'm confident we'll fill them.
So, because I see we got Marion County advertising and it's hiring in Lake City.
So we do that everywhere. I would
So
tell
we need to
you,
put up a
we
billboard in
advertise
Marion.
more. We actually put out 20 billboards this year in all of the surrounding areas, social media, postcards went across the state. We all do it.
They
We don't like
advertise
it.
here because they want the best.
So at this time, we don't have, all of our teachers that are here, I'm not talking about the ones that have to go out and that, but all our teachers are gonna still be in place and still at their schools and all that good stuff, we're not gonna have anything that's gonna.
So we always, each year, we have individuals that may end up retiring, that may resign for different reasons, as well. Honestly, Ms. Paula, I hold my breath until May 10th. That's the day that everyone across the state has to sign their contract.
No man, you will, no way.
I wish there were.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll have Ms. Mary Howard with our instructional update.
Good evening, board chair and board members.
Good evening.
I'm waiting for my presentation to come up. I will, agree with Ms. Paula that every child has a story, and that is one of the things that we always like to remember. And like the old people say, we don't look like what we've been through. So when we think about the kids in our classroom and the kids that we encounter every day, it is every individual child, because everybody has a story. So tonight I want to give y'all some good stories though. But looking at our board goals tonight, we're going to really look at board goal number 2, academic achievement. I bring to you tonight our junior scholars. And with our junior scholars presentation, our first candidate is an 8th grader from J. Paul, Mr. Frederick Ritchie. He is not with us tonight due to illness in his family, but he is a junior scholar in ELA or reading. He scored above the 550 requirement to reach that accomplishment. So we will make sure that he receives his certificates in his honor. So we are very proud of that. But we do also tonight have our second person, Mr. Gunnels, with us. So Jackson Gunnels, if you will come forward, and Dr. Duke. And Mr. Gunnels, tonight we have 2 certificates to give to you. The first one reads just in a certificate of recognition, proudly awarded to Jackson Gunnels. This certificate is given to you for outstanding achievement from our very own interim superintendent, Ms. Casey Fagan, also signed by our secondary director, Mr. Ned Blake, and I will give that to you. Our next certificate is our South Carolina Junior Scholars Award Merit that is actually coming from the State Department of Education for outstanding intellectual achievement in the 25-26 Junior Scholars Identification and Development Program, signed by our very own Ms. Ellen Weaver and Dr. David Mathis, the chairperson of the State Board of Education. Also, your grandparents also get these proud bumper stickers. So we are very proud of you. Dr. Dukes, if you will get right in here with, Grandparents, you can come on up too. Thank you so much, because I'm sure that Jackson has a story, and we are very proud of him and all of his accomplishments. So we can get us a picture right here. Outstanding. Thank you very much. Congratulations. That is very hard work. Being a junior scholar, they actually take the 8th grade version of the 8th. All right, so next we want to bring to you some other highlights that we are very proud of, and that's our district spelling bee winner. We had quite a round in the spelling bee. That first group was, a very challenging group. Our first place from our first and second graders go to Janiyah Blaine from Lake City Early Childhood Center. Second place, Avery Hanna from J.C. Lynch. Third place, Edward McFadden from Scranton Elementary. So that's their little picture there at the top. So they went for
20 plus.
20 plus rounds.
It's like an hour of spelling.
Yes. Our third and fourth grade winners, Callie McKenzie from Atlanta was in first place. Second place was Nolan White from Scranton. Third place was Haven Parrott from J.C. Lynch. So that is our elementary division there. Then our next set of competition, these students can move on for the 5 through 8 participation at the regional spelling bee at Francis Marion on March the 16th. For 5th and 6th grade, our first place winner is Mr. Nolan Harris from Atlanta. Second place, Jaden Russell from Main Street. Third place is Wyatt Sherman from Atlanta. Our 7th and 8th grade winners, first place is Crystal Arbite from J. Paul. Second place is Jakari McCutcheon Hughes from J. Paul. He was a winner last year as well at Scranton. And third place is Taylor McKenzie from Drim. So we want to congratulate all of our district level spelling bee winners, and we can't wait to see what you guys do if you're participating at Francis Marion on March the 16th. So let's give them a hand. And this next slide, guys, this was not in our original presentation. We got this great news today from Miss Chelsea Harris. So Miss Chelsea Harris, if you will please stand, along with Mr. Jason Cook. We have some band scholars to congratulate. They had a director of bands from Benedict College to come to Lake City High School and do auditions. We have 5 students who will be receiving $5,000 each for 4 years for a total of $100,000 to our students at Benedict College. Ms. Chelsea Harris, thank you so much for your hard work and making that opportunity possible for our students. And then our last slide is just some upcoming events for you. Next week will be a busy week in Florence 3. It's Read Across America Week. And it's also our National History Day competition at the Bean Market. Our 4th through 12th graders will compete on March the 3rd. And on March the 5th, our 4K through 3rd graders will compete. March the 13th is the 135th day of school. I know you cannot believe that. So we are coasting right into testing season. And then we have our big day for our Cognia certification visit, which is on March the 30th. And so we are busy preparing for that, and we look forward to that visit on March the 30th. Any questions for instructional updates? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening again. We're gonna start off looking at proposed board meeting dates for the 26-27 school year. And you can see the dates listed there. It's the 3rd Thursday, like normal, with the exception of February. That's why it's got an asterisk, because that's the board conference. And so we usually move that meeting to the Tuesday to have that meeting earlier. And again, all board meetings would be at 6 p.m. here at the district office boardroom.
Board, I will entertain a motion regarding the board meeting dates for 2026-2027 school year.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the board dates for 26 and 27 school year.
I have a motion by Ms. Maddie Thomas and a second by Ms. Rebecca Yates. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to approve the board meeting dates for 2026 and 2027, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we have, thank you. We need an extension for our contract with Malden and Jenkins, and at your, seat, you have a copy of the quotes and the amounts. It's on the back of that front page. We have two options, I'm sorry. The first option is a 3-year option, and the second option is a 5-year option, and you can see that they do, reduce the amounts for the 5 years, so there is some money savings with the 5-year. And this is the, Malden and Jenkins CPA and Advisors, and they're, if you remember back in, earlier, in the year, one of their representatives was here to, present the audit. So that's the same firm that we are currently using. And our contract currently goes through December of 2026.
Discussion, questions?
What do we currently pay?
I'm looking at this tape because I don't. Last year, we did a, 1-year, extension, and I don't, let's hope maybe able to get that amount.
Yeah, I don't want to say any number, I would have to look it up.
Yep. But by extending it for more time, there is additional savings.
So, board, I will entertain a motion regarding extend the contract with Malden and Jenkins CPA and Advisor. Which year, I guess?
Wait until we know.
3 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
we now have to bid it out? I'm just asking.
If we choose to extend it, we can, until we wanna go through the bid process again. I think it'll come up after the 3 years. Cause I think we've had them so far since, I think it's 10 years you would have to bid. Trying to look this up. I'm just taking a little
So
time.
every 10 years we have to bid for new accounts anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanna table it for more information. Yeah, so I can give them more information.
Okay.
We can postpone the,
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone the, action on getting the new account or extending the contract for our.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Ms. Rebecca Yates and a second by Ms. Maddie Thomas. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to table, or postpone, okay, right here. Postpone, extend our contract with Malden and Jenkins CPA and Advisory. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, on the next slide. Just, I've been updating you each month with enrollment numbers. And I know the question came up about the cut because the state looks at our 45th day enrollment, and they'll also look at 135th day enrollment, because those are the two kind of places where you look for funding. So you can see that currently our enrollment is 2603. This was pulled last week. And as Ms. Hope stated earlier, in the budget, we prepared for a decrease of about 159 students, so we're not quite there. We're at like 144 students. And hopefully this will go up a little bit before the 135th day, which is when the state pulls that data. The next slide. As you know, if you've been paying attention to the media and the news, it is that time of year again where the legislators meet and talk about budget for the following school year. And just to kind of give you an overview of all the processes that it has to go through, the state superintendent of education will submit a proposed budget, which we're going to talk about that tonight, and the governor also submits a proposed budget. Then it goes to the House Ways and Means Committee, then it goes to the House for a vote, then it goes to the Senate Finance Committee, then to the Senate, and then Conference Committee, and then it goes to the governor to sign. And at that point, the governor can, veto something, and then it would have to go back to see if it was going to be overridden or not. On the next slide, back in November, I gave you the proposals that the Revenue and Physical Affairs made about the state-aided classroom and how funding is currently being done in the state of South Carolina. And I've kind of color-coded this. I know this is a lot on the slide, but I wanted to show you the recommendations that the governor did accept in his proposed budget. They did not accept all 9, so you can see the ones here that were accepted. So the first one for reducing the number of weight categories, the governor did not accept. However, they did use the career and technology, remove the weightings, and the funding will be from a separate pot and will be allocated specifically for equipment. So that's something new, and we'll see what happens as it moves through. Another proposal was also number 3 dealt with different weightings for limited English proficiency, GT, and academic assistance. They wanted to consolidate those. The governor did not. Okay. 4, separate the funding for charter, district, brick and mortar, and virtual weights. If you remember, during budget season last year, this was a big topic because there's one pot of money. Charter schools are pulling 100% of their funds from that because they don't get the local. So it's usually 75% state and 25% local. Well, charter schools don't have the tax base, so they get 100% of their funding from the state. And they had a huge discussion on the weights because at the time they had different weights for brick and mortar charter schools versus virtual charter schools that are all online. So they did agree to separate the money. So there will be a pot for public and a pot for different pot from charter schools. Doesn't mean that the entire amount's going up. It just means that they're going to split it now before they start splitting it up more. They want to continue to fund the state and local share of charter districts. That was the governor liked that particular one. 6 and 7, 6 was not accepted. They wanted to distribute all funding through the formula. Right now, there's some things that are not included in the formula, like health insurance. And so the governor said health insurance remains proportional for a current year and may be proportional for the prior year. So that's one change that he made. Allocating funds based on prior year student count, that's a huge concern for districts as far as planning purposes. If the funding, kind of like what Ms. Hope talked about today, changes in the middle of the year, it makes it difficult for districts to plan accordingly. And so that was not accepted. They're still focusing in on that 45th day and that 135th day. So it can change depending on if your district is increasing enrollment or decreasing in enrollment. Another thing that the governor did accept was the update the whole harmless year, but he added that little green part that says with adjustments for CTE and charter weights. So again, that CTE and the charter weights is coming out of the big pot. So now there'll be multiple pots, and they are proposing that to update the whole harmless year, and that benefits districts that may not have the growth like some other districts. So with that being said, on the next slide, as I stated, the superintendent of education gives a proposed budget, and then the governor gives a proposed budget. On some items, they were hand in hand, and other areas, they were not necessarily together. Last week, the Ways and Means Committee started discussions, and so they've already kind of put their rubber stamp, so to speak, on some parts, and some parts they haven't. So this first part, you can see that the governor's budget said $150 million for the state-aided classroom. That is increasing the minimum teacher's salary by $2,000, And you can see that was pretty much right there in line with the state superintendent recommendations. And the the Ways and Means Committee has approved this. So right now, we're good on that part. But let me say this, everything can change because it's so early in the process. The governor also proposed $61.4 million for the Educational Scholarship Trust Fund. You can see that the superintendent did $61 million. The committee, the Ways and Means Committee came back and said, okay, we're going to approve $23.2 million, which brings us up to the 15,000 students that's required in the law. Both the governor and the superintendent was wanting to increase that. The law only states that you have to provide it to 15,000 students. They wanted to increase it to 20,000. House Ways and Means Committee said, we're only going to approve 23.2. Again, anything can change. On the next slide, you can see that the governor had $81.8 million for career and technology funds. That's with the weight of the weight of 1.20. So far, that has been approved by the committee. The next one there, you can see both basically made the same recommendation for $8.2 million. This includes, you may have heard us talk about ClassLink, and that's the learning management system, and so that was approved as well. On the next slide, the governor asked for $15 million for summer reading camps to serve the additional students in 1st and 2nd grade. The state superintendent asked for $30 million. They have approved 15 so far. The governor asked for $50 million for high-quality instructional materials, and you can see the breakdown there on what was included in that. Superintendent or the State Department requested $70 million. They have approved $38.3 million so far. On the next slide, you can see that the governor's budget had $1.4 million for a teacher strategic compensation program. This is a career ladder that would allow teachers to stay in the classroom and still have some leadership roles. The amounts were the same, and the committee did approve that. $5 million for the teacher strategic compensation program. They are wanting to add to phase 3, which would be new schools into that, and that was approved for the $5 million. If you watched the news and saw where some districts got some pretty hefty payouts for teachers whose test scores were excellent, that is the program. We were offered to join that for one school. We have applied for that, but we haven't heard whether we've been accepted or not, because they are accepting limited number of districts. The governor proposed $20 million for school safety grants, and in the State Department of Education's proposal, you can see it was broken down and had more money there set aside for different parts of school safety, and the Ways and the committee has accepted the $20 million that the governor put in. On the next slide, this is kind of the big difference. The governor proposed $5 million for school buses. State Department of Education said $40 million. Well, the committee said $30 million. Okay, so the next one, the $3.2 million for statewide educational finance data platform was approved so far, so that hasn't, that should go forward. A proviso that both the governor and the State Department has proposed, you've probably heard this on the news too, because this is getting a lot of attention, is that they want to ensure that if a superintendent leaves the district while they are under contract, they cannot be paid any more than 1 year's salary. Apparently there has been a lot in the news about some districts paying out superintendents large amounts, and so they want to make sure that it can be no more than what 1 year's salary is. Additional things in the budget, next slide, that just was in the governor's budget was $8.7 million for the child nutrition program. This is free breakfast for anyone regardless of income. That has been accepted so far. The $9.9 million for full day fork pay has been accepted at $9.8 million, so a little bit less. But this is expanding First Steps not in public schools, but in private and other, like charter and things like that. $25,000 for Project Read, which is a PD, reading and personal finance, has been accepted so far. And the $1 million for the Teacher Transformational Pilot Program through USC has been accepted so far as well. The governor also proposed that because of the $2,000 teacher increase to salary, they would have to change the amount here. Last year it was like $77,879 is what they were funding for a master's level teacher for 12 years of experience, but since the salary is going up, they had to increase that. So that has been increased to the $80,378 is the recommendation. A couple things that was just in the State Department's request was $580,000 for physical oversight and data infrastructure. I'm not sure if that's going to go yet or not. It has not been approved. And then Ms. Ellen Weaver wanted $17.6 million for what was called Disconnect to Reconnect. And this is going to be age-appropriate instructional materials for grades 3 through 8 on smartphone screens and social media. That has not been approved yet, so we don't know if that's going to move forward. All right, so moving from the money part to just some interesting or provisos or bills in the House rather that would impact education. This one's getting a lot of attention too, the grading practices and uniform grading policy. What this is proposing to change is that some districts have policies or procedures where a student can't make below a certain grade, whether it's a 50 or whatever. They want to eliminate that. In districts that do not eliminate it, if you look at that first bullet, could lose up to 10% of funding. That's the same thing, remember with the smartphones? They said if you don't enact this policy, that could be 10%. So they want no minimum grade or score required. Kids will get true grades for whatever it is that they do. And non-academic factors may not be considered when assigning grades. So things like participation and things that other teachers may be putting in, that would not be allowed under this. Also, it could change credit recovery and content recovery programs. If a student has not completed all of the work, they would not be able to qualify for content or credit recovery. So if they have missing assignments and fail the class, they're not going to be able to qualify. Again, this hasn't passed. This is proposed, so we'll see what happens to it over the next couple of months. They also wanted a task force to review the uniform grading policy, and they are supposed to report out by June 1st of 2027. The next slide has the school board ethics bill. You may have heard about this as well. Training and things came up tonight. This bill is going to require the State Board of Education to adopt a model code of ethics, which must be used to develop model codes of ethics for local school boards. The policy must be adopted during a regular scheduled board meeting within 3 months of whenever the state sends their model policy. And the policy must include penalties for violations that the state board determines as reasonable and necessary. There is actually a bulleted list under this of some of the things that they have already discussed, like requiring more training for board members, and that instead of having 12 months to complete your training, you would have 6 months. And also talked about things like sharing items from executive session with the public. And if you don't do what they said here, that you can receive a letter from the governor about your training and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this moves through the House and what changes are made. But it does give the State Department, the South Carolina Department of Ed, more control involved in training school board members. Right now, everything kind of goes by the School Board Association, so this would bring in the Department of Ed. On the next slide, if you remember last year, we had to adopt a policy about absences for like CAPE-related things, Skills USA. Now there is a proposed bill that students can have up to 10 days for participation in interscholastic activities. And so that was kind of following along. The next one deals with ABA therapy services. This is a therapy service that is quite popular with autistic students. And so this would allow private providers to come into the schools if it was deemed necessary, and they would provide us with a model policy on this as well for us to follow if that does indeed pass. So, a lot going on, and this is by no means everything, but these are kind of the big items, but wanted to let you know kind of where we are within the state now as far as where they are in the budget process, and we'll be updating you as we receive more information because it's still very, very early. All right, any questions before Mr. Huckabee comes with the facilities update? All right.
Thank you.
Good evening. We'll start the facilities update like we do every month with phase 1B at Lake City Early Childhood. If you recall, last time I told you about the gas lines that we had to abandon due to leaks that we could not seem to get fixed. So Dominion Energy has now run the new lines at no cost to us. And they finished those, they connected to the DOAS units, and those units have been commissioned. And I didn't know this, I learned something new. You can't just turn them on. They have to be plugged in basically for 24 hours before they can go to the next step. And only a representative from the manufacturer can do all this. So it's been a learning experience for us and quite a process. But they're currently testing and balancing those units. So I should be ready in the next, I would say next week or so, hopefully. Building automation is nearing completion. We've run into some snags in all this with some equipment that wasn't delivered, that was back ordered, so that's kind of thrown off our schedule. We do have a small punch list that is being worked on. I expect that by the March meeting, I'll be able to stand here and tell you that 1B is officially completed and everything's been signed off on. Okay, next slide. With other work that's going on, the capital asset planning audit is taking place district-wide, and that is a part of phase 1B. Schneider is in the process of installing building automation controls. They started that February 2nd at Old Scranton, and J.C. Litch. All wire pulls have been completed, and the automation server has been installed at Old And the building automation will continue at the remaining schools that are not receiving new mechanical HVAC equipment. The lighting submittals to OSF are continuing to be finalized. They will be submitted as soon as they're finished, and work will begin once OSF gives their approval, which we found that with fire alarms and everything, that there seems to be a backlog on getting some of these projects finished. So hopefully they'll be able to get those soon. They're also working on window, electrical, and mechanical submittals, getting those prepared, and once they're finished, they will be submitted to OSF as well. Main Street Elementary gym roof, had to conduct an asbestos test. That's been done, and the results were negative, so that was very good news that there is no asbestos that needs to be abated. And OSF has issued the school building permit for this project, did that last week. So that particular project's moving forward. Back in, I think starting in November, Schneider began doing some video work to create a informational video for the public.
again teamed up with Snyder Electric to launch the second
Hello.
Videos to just kind of update it. So we'll keep you posted on those. Next slide, War Memorial Stadium. We've gotten the necessary permits from the Department of Environmental Services to begin demolition of the old field house and construction of the new field house. You have to get this permit before you can put a shovel in the dirt. And so that's what we've been waiting on. And we should be starting that, I think, next week. A subcontractor will start building the construction road from the back over between the playing field and the practice field. And that road will actually remain after the project's finished for team buses to use. So we'll keep you updated as that moves along.
Be ready for football season.
Big pardon?
We'll be ready for football season.
We expect the field will be ready. We aren't sure that the field house will be ready. And we've had discussions with the athletic department, and Coach Estep is okay with team dressing at the high school if necessary until the field house is complete. But the concessions, toilet areas, the lighting, scoreboard, all of that will be ready in time for the season. Yes, ma'am. An update on the fire alarm upgrades. The drawings for alarms at high school, Lake City Childhood Center, have been submitted to OSF. As I mentioned before, that there is a backlog, so things won't move as quickly with OSF as we would like it to. We hope to have approval by next week. And they're still working on plans for J. Paul and Dr. Ronnie McNair. Once those are completed, they will be submitted to OSF. New wiring and raceway installation, those two items are scheduled to begin next week as well. And I threw this in because we knew we were getting some school safety funds that we applied for. We knew how much, we just didn't have official notification, so we didn't want to say anything. But now it's official. Ms. Fagan got a letter this past week that states we are getting $500,000 in school safety funds, which will be applied to fireworks. And the J.C. Lynch Elementary marquee is installed and operational, Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Looks good. Like we about something.
And we also installed some new bathroom partitions at Scranton Elementary School, both the boys and girls bathrooms in the 200. Next slide, during intercession, we had some painting done at Main Street Elementary School, in the hallway of the 200 building. And then last weekend, they were able to do the door frames as well. We couldn't do those at the same time because the smell, it's an enamel paint because so there was a stronger smell, so the painters wanted to do it on the weekend to give it time to air out when the students return. We're also doing some painting of some bathrooms at Scranton, J.C. Lynch, Olana, J. Paul, and Lake City High School. That's scheduled to start during the spring break. That painting will include walls and ceilings, and the floors will be covered with an epoxy that will help make it easier to keep clean, particularly, I can tell you, with the boys' bathrooms, at the urinals, things happen. Gets on the floor. And so, the epoxy would just help us keep it cleaner and make it easier for our custodians at the same time. And all of that is being done with state capital improvement funds. And then the next slide is just our tracking sheet that we share with you every week, every month. We will share it every week if you want. Down towards the bottom, you see the Main Street Elevated 200 Hall paint project. That should be green. Green indicates projects that have been completed. So we will update that. And I will try to answer any questions you may have.
What are you doing with security with the doors, the new keys, I think they just do the magic keys.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The security for the doors, at the schools, have we finished that? We have our schools.
I know, Kate and J. Paul have them. I don't think Ron McNair has the cards yet. We've actually had A3 here today at J. Paul. They'll have to go back to the high school as well. We're having some issues with those gates. We have some stickers that will go on windshields of buses and district vehicles that will automatically open the gates so you don't have to wave a card. But there's something with the proximity reader that it's not reading from far enough away. So they have to do some more work on that before we can get those operational. That answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the safety, there's so many things happening now.
Oh, we're always concerned about safety.
Yeah, I know you are, and I know we've been working on it for a while now.
And all the schools have the A-phones at the front door, where you have to buzz them in, so, I mean, that's, to me, that's a good layer of protection there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And that concludes this evening's presentation.
Okay, board, our entertained motion regarding executive session.
Mr. Chair, I move that we exit from open session and enter into executive session to discuss student discipline or potential legal matters, personnel matters concerning possible hiring, termination, resignation, placed on leave, or potential legal matters.
I have a motion by Jaquel Brown, and a second by Ms. Rufus Ryerson. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to exit from open session and into executive session to discuss student discipline or potential legal matters, personnel matters, concerns, possible hiring, termination, resignation, placed on leave, or legal matters, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that's it for me.
board, I will entertain a motion regarding exiting from executive session and reconvening back in open session.
Mr. Chair, I move that we exit executive session and reconvene in open session.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Jaquel Brown and a second by Ms. Maddie Thomas. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to exit from executive session and reconvene back in open session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There is no action carried over from executive session. Board, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. I have a motion by Ms. Rutha Frierson and a second by Ms. Paula Morris. Is there any discussion? None being noted, all in favor to adjourn say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?